Alright, so it's about 4 p.m. now and I'm out at Woods Reserve and I'm heading to the top of Gibraltar Peak tonight for some astrophotography. Now I know I said a few times that in these videos that I am going to shoot some astro and I never do, but this time, here's the time, I promise. Should be basically no moon tonight and the sky is expected to clear at around 11 p.m. So I'm hoping to do some light painting stuff up at the rocks out there. Yeah, should be good. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to be getting up early and heading to Corin Dam. Now, I did go to Corin Dam a few weeks ago on my Mount Gingerra trip, and I think there's some good vistas over there, so basically just wanted to give the place, you know, a photo that I think it deserves. So I'll head there tomorrow morning. But yeah, should be a good trip. A bit overcast at the moment, so probably not going to get anything for sunset, but I'm probably just going to get up there, wait around for some astro. Other than that, short and sweet.
Woke up from a whisper, collared shirt down by my feet, stood on crowded bedroom row. Voices filled the rooms upstairs. Our Ford was warm before we drove. Breakfast fresh on the stove. She walked out with the floral blouse. Back then, everyone was near. Woke up from an old alarm. Bones could barely roll from bed. Stood on an empty bedroom rug, walking around with one eye closed. Last of 6 eyes focusing on
Alright,
me.
it's about 7 p.m. now and I've been at the top of Gibraltar Peak for about 2 hours now. It's about 50 minutes from sunrise and sunset, sorry, and it does not look like there'll be any light as I expected. It still is very overcast. So I'm probably just going to hang around. I got a composition set up for tonight for the astro shot. Weather's forecast said it was going to start clearing out the sky at about 11 p.m. So I'm going to have quite a bit of waiting around to do, but hopefully it will be worth it. There are little patches of the sky that are showing it starting to clear in some areas, so I'm hoping 11 p.m. does turn out to be the case for a good clear sky. But yeah, I'll wait around for this. I'll do another vlog when I'm actually starting shooting. And then tomorrow morning head back to Corin Dam, where hopefully there'll be some nice landscapes. So yeah, I'll see you later in the night. Hopefully it turns out well, but then again, if you're watching this, it did. So yeah, see you later. Hello, so it's about 11:30 now, and I've just wrapped up shooting of the astrophotography images. I'm just lighting myself with my head torch right now, which might look a bit creepy, but I think it's going to be the best I do, better than you probably not seeing me at all. So I pretty much went for a technique which I usually like to go on astrophotography, which is basically a combination of the astro shot. So in this case I want to get the star trails, and then using light painting as well. So with the star trails it's pretty simple. Widest aperture, 30 seconds, and I usually go about ISO 3200. I find that way the sky is pretty much correctly exposed and you can see a lot of the stars as well. Astro is definitely one of those genres where you don't really want to be trusting your camera's light meter. It's a bit of, word of mouth. That's basically how you find out, and yeah, just testing things really. And yeah, I did light painting afterwards. That was pretty cool. So I stopped down to f11, 30 seconds still, but then shot at ISO 100. Basically got my head torch, which I'm using right now. Basically just shone it around the landscape whilst the camera was exposing the image. And you can sort of just paint in the light, and it essentially acts as a artificial sun, so you get to choose the exposure of certain parts. So I was out shooting that for a while and I got a ton of variety. So the way I like to do it usually is I'll do an exposure basically for each element. So in this case there was some trees on the left, did a few exposures for those. There was some rocks on the one prominent rock on the right, did an exposure for that, well, quite a few actually. Yeah, it's probably spent about 15 or 20 minutes just sort of making sure that the landscape would be, in theory, correctly exposed. But I think it turned out quite well actually. I'm quite happy with them, but I think I'm going to call it from there. It's getting quite late. I'm honestly pretty tired, and I think I'm pretty happy with what I've gotten anyway. But yeah, I'll head back to Woods Reserve, and tomorrow morning, well, not much of a hike, just to drive up to Corin Dam, and I'll see you then. Okay, I'll show you the image now. Well, after around 4 hours of waiting and another final hour of shooting, here is the final image. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. The star trails look great, and there's a lot of detail in the foreground elements. However, there are a few areas I could have improved. Firstly is in the distant mountain, where, put simply, it's flat and lacking brightness. I think a blue hour exposure, or some similarly good long exposure, could have added a lot more detail to this element of the image. Finally is the light painted foreground. Although there is a lot of detail, the foreground is very flat and lacking contrast. Using a dimmer head torch setting would have allowed me to more finely paint in the exposure, creating a more dynamic scene with higher contrast and varying light levels. Astrophotography is a very technical genre. Although I have had some great success with it, I still have much to learn. I'm not pretending to be an expert, and this image certainly highlights areas for improvement. Fortunately, I did capture an image I did love that night. Earlier in the day, as sunset neared, I conceded that the light would be dull. But, just as the sun was beginning to lower into the horizon, the landscape became illuminated by an orange hue, creating this stunning scene. Alright, good morning. So it's about 5:30 now. It's about 15 minutes from sunrise. You'll have to excuse the moany voice and the lack of enthusiasm because I did not get much sleep last night. Went to bed about 1 a.m. when I got back to the car, and then back up again at 4:45. So yeah, a bit tired. But yeah, anyway. Back here at Corin Dam, like I said I'd be. I'm just shooting pretty simple composition. Don't think it's anything amazing, but I think it does work and it is quite nice. So when I was here for my Mount Gingerra trip, I definitely took note of the landscape around this area. But at the time, because I did arrive at sunset, I decided that it wouldn't really work because the sun would be setting behind the mountain back here. I just don't think the light would be particularly anything special. This composition I have now, it's gonna be a lot better. So yeah, sunrise, but there is just a potential for a lot more contrast. So what it's gonna look like is you have the mountains on the right side all lit up by the sunlight. There's a little bit of shadow just on the left, just adding a lot more depth and contrast to the image from another hill anyway. Yeah, I'll shoot this and that'll be the end of the trip. This might be my last vlog because I don't know how much more I can add, and so I want to get home as quickly as I can and jump into bed. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. The images seem to have turned out pretty well this trip. I've actually been quite lucky, so yeah. yeah, I'll wait around till sunrise, shoot this, head back, and get some sleep. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.